What do hot frothy loins, mullets, and tight jeans have in common? Today we're talking about Achy Breaky Heart by Billy Ray Cyrus. Some say that Cyrus brought renewed interest to a dying breed of country music among young listeners. Others may say that we created a new drinking game with this episode. Line dance through the discussion with us as we uncover if this song is a wonder or a blunder. So, have you guys wondered where Wrecking Ball came from?
Not one time. Never. No.
Never? Well, we're going to talk about the hot, frothy loins of where Miley Cyrus came from today.
Actually, what we're going to talk about is the birthplace of the mullet.
It's one and the same.
It actually is.
And
she was birthed from a mullet. An achy, breaky mullet.
Yeah. And from Wikipedia, this is not to be confused with Achy Breaky Heart.
Yeah.
Or the Filipino film, The Achy Breaky Hearts.
Don't confuse it.
That's one of my favorite films, by the way.
Oh, tell us more about it in a different podcast.
That's my Filipino podcast, Filipino Films with Aaron. Well,
don't tune in ever.
If you haven't realized what we're talking about today, we are going to talk about the epic, the early 90s pop country sensation.
The tight jeans, the loins of where I don't know where he's from. The mullet of Memphis, right? No.
Not Memphis.
Oh,
no.
shit. Okay,
No.
back to you, Aaron.
Thanks. we're going to talk about Achy Breaky Heart by Billy Ray Cyrus.
Mullet of Memphis.
He's not the goddamn mullet of Memphis.
That's great
That's
name.
offensive to everyone in
Such a
Memphis.
great name.
God. So, as you guys will learn during the course of your podcasting with me and Lori, I am a musician, and I spent a very, very good time in Nashville, kind of in the whole scene and understanding how the Nashville machine works. And that is very much the crux of early 90s country. Nashville and pop country was probably the largest it has ever been in late 80s, early 90s. And this is one of those products. So when we talk about, artists and songwriters and people specifically writing songs for this and that, this is not one of those situations. Achy Breaky Heart is very much a product of the machine, and we will get into that further. So during the course of our podcast, my lovely fiance, Lori, she is a marketing major, so she is going to talk about how the songs...
Not a major. Done with college, folks.
She's a marketing corporal.
Marketing ninja.
A marketing lieutenant is what she is. Sorry. I didn't know.
I mean, whatever.
So she talks about how the songs became popular from that aspect, be it great album covers, because at this time, people were still buying albums, LPs, and CDs, so album covers were important. She talks about commercialization of the song. She talks about, what specific aspects in the current popular economy,
She talks about mullets.
And talks about mullets.
Nipples a lot, actually. I mean, that's really, nipples and mullets are what it comes down to for marketing.
So we've only done a few of these podcasts, and all of a sudden, and so far the word that's come out the most has been nipples. So we know where Lori's mind is
If
at.
you're looking for a new drinking game, it should be how often does Lori say nipples or mullet? And I will throw it out as, it depends on how much you guys want to drink nipples mullet.
Is that a new drink? It's Lori's nipples mullet?
Them drink that.
Like, come to my house, I'm making a bunch of nipples mullets.
What are those even? I don't know. We'll put a recipe up on the YouTubes.
Okay, so before we get into this, we want to talk about our first sponsor, Spiral Brewery in Hastings, Minnesota. We are drinking.
We have no sponsors.
She's lying. We are drinking the Townie. It is a great Kolsch ale. It's nice and light. We got a whole growler of it. So
from a marketing standpoint, I have to say these are not an official sponsor. We love the beer of Spiral Brewery. We would love for them to sponsor us at some point in time. You cannot interject and say what you feel. Legally, they are not sponsoring us. No. Okay. Spiral Brewery is delicious. We will hopefully team up with them at a different date and time. Nipples mullet.
This is already going so far off the rails.
All right, Aaron. So
anyway, marketing with Lori. Go.
Oh, okay. So you guys know the song "Achy Breaky Heart"?
God damn it.
By Billy Ray Cyrus of all of the Cyruses.
Like
Billy Ray.
Chet Cyrus, the famous Knoxville Cyruses.
Okay. Song was written in 1990.
By
Don Von Tress. First recorded by the Marcy Brothers. I have not heard of them before. They're a country artist. Well, they are country artists from California.
Yep.
Later recorded by Billy Ray in 92.
Yep.
Which we've all been subjected to, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? I shouldn't say that. I'm not a fan of the song. Everyone else might love it.
Sure.
I don't like it. Next note I have, although some consider it the worst song of all time, me included, it was actually part of country music line dancing. Like, this is how line dancing became a really huge thing. And you might think, like, how did this happen? How did, like, this one record make line dancing a thing? Mm-hmm. Marketing.
Yes.
It was all marketing.
Correct.
And I can tell you more. So I have notes about the music video, and my first note is, oh my God, his mullet. Exclamation point is all I had to say for the first part. And then after that, it says, so many mullets. So clearly, were you rocking a mullet in 92? Because mullets were where it was at.
No, I was a big fan of New Kids on the Block, being a youngster, and I wanted a rat tail, which I feel like was the
poor man's mullet.
Well, no, it's just like
it's like
the northern mullet, like below the Mason-Dixon line. They weren't able to confine it into braids and a rubber band.
Sure.
Above that, we're like, you know what? We want a mullet, but we want it in one.
We also want to be able to hit people with it.
I want to be able to whip my head around and smack the shit out of your face. Yes.
So line dancing was everywhere in the 90s. And this video was a huge part of why that happened.
Yep. So to preface that, line dancing has always been a huge thing in country music, and it's always been, the 90s were such a curvature in popular country. So the reason it exploded so much, it's like all this stuff, even Nashville, you have old country, and it was very much a personal thing to a lot of people in the South. But then when it got a national attention, you have people in even Minnesota, where we're from, probably donning a Canadian tuxedo and line dancing for the first time in the 90s because it was so popular. Yeah. It was
it was in sitcoms. It was everywhere.
Everywhere.
So I also just have to point out another thing I wrote down is the video, so bad. That was just a note. It's just basically Billy Ray like trying to get down in his really tight jeans. But after that, like, the song was featured in movies and TV, and I think that's what helped build it to the juggernaut that it was. It was part of like Elvins and the Chipmunks. It was number 4 on the Billboard 100. But really, from a marketing standpoint, there was Mercury, which was like a marketing album company.
So record label.
Yeah. Thank you.
That was
you.
that the word you're looking for? Oh. We have a new notification. So this came from my computer. Sorry.
Okay, cool.
We'll cut this out. Editing.
So the song was crafted and basically a marketing strategy was built behind it.
Yep.
So people that are curious as to like what do marketers do and does marketing really work, I think this commercial is stupid. Let me give you a little bit more of like insight of what marketers really do, because this kind of paints like a really good picture of how does a marketing person build a campaign without you even knowing it. So before the song was even released, 6 months before that, the company was deciding how do we make this album popular, because they decided they wanted this to be the next big album.
Mm-hmm.
So they thought that they needed people to see Billy Ray's life and like just kind of who he was and understand his power. So they had him perform in small venues. Yeah, you're looking at me questioningly.
So it was like they
decided he was going to be popular.
Which, I mean, that's very much the Nashville machine. That's what they do.
So they booked him in certain venues. And then they had people opt in to seeing him live in these videos. So that's what you're seeing in his music video, is people that wanted to be part of like the first part of it. And then they hired Melanie Greenwood, who was like a choreographer, to do the line dance and create the video. So a line dance was created before the video even became a thing.
So it's a huge big picture, and it's quintessential of a pop star, and how many people, the general public does not understand how big of a team it takes to make a Taylor Swift, or make
a Billy Ray.
To basically take a sad homeless chunk of hair and make it into
a sad homeless chunk of hair with tight jeans. And a line dance. So after they have like the line dance, they got this all figured out. They did a video release on Valentine's Day to country music clubs before the video was actually released to anyone else. So people in clubs were like learning this dance before the song was released like widespread to anyone else. So people like kind of felt like, oh, we're special, we're learning this. So then like participants learned how to do the dance. It was in the video. It became a dance contest before the song even hit like the airways. And then the music video was released to CMT and Nashville Network. So a bunch of people before that were invested because they were like, oh, we were in like a line dance competition. We heard this song. We bought the album where we could limited on Valentine's Day. And then it gets released like wide stream. So people that were already like invested in that very small community spread it to people.
Yeah.
And that's from a marketing standpoint why that happened. You're welcome, and I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, it is what it is, and you know, a lot of portion of the music industry is making money, so I see what that is. And to be honest with you, I don't even hate the plan. It seems like it was very well thought out. I mean, and it worked. I mean, you think of all of the trickle down effects from that. You have, even in the small world of like Billy Ray Cyrus and the single and things like that. But look at what that did. We're talking about the single and the way they marketed it, bringing a fundamental aspect of country music line dancing to popular music.
And think of being like an outsider and you're watching a video and then you're seeing people that already know the dance. And if you want to be able to do that dance, which at the time, the 90s were a weird time, people. Like the early 90s, everyone wanted to line dance. So like if you knew that line dance,
you were the shit.
Yeah.
So it definitely... it did what it was supposed to do, and I mean, that's why we're talking about it. So from a musical aspect, the Nashville Machine is something that I just have never had access to in Minnesota growing up. But when I moved there and got to see firsthand what that is like, it's unlike anything I could even describe. It's people who specifically try to manufacture these
musicians.
It's not even musicians. It's these life events. It's building up people's emotion for this before the music, like the line dancing thing. It's building up that attachment to a musician or a song before it is even released. Devising a plan where you're like, oh man, tons of people are getting married. Let's write a song that's going to be on every first dance. And then they play it on a wedding ring, like a jeweler commercial. And then it just like snowballs. It was amazing to see how ingenious these marketers were.
Sure.
Being not that type of musician, I don't gravitate towards that kind of commercialism for my art, but I can see, it's made people millionaires, and I really can't hate on them for getting caught up in the machine, and it worked for them.
It for sure bought Billy Ray some flat irons for Hannah Montana, because his hair
wigs.
Is so flat iron.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I digress.
Please. Yeah. So
hit us. Where is it at? Where did the song come in, and where?
Before that.
Oh, yeah.
So before that, it was initially recorded by the Oak Ridge Boys, which is a huge band, in the South, country band, but very religiously righteous in some aspects. So they did not want to release it because it had the words achy breaky in it, and they thought that was
Devil's
a little
water.
I guess, I don't know. Then, as Lori mentioned, it was recorded.
The Don Von Tross. Oh, he wrote it.
But
the Marcy Brothers.
That's when it was recorded fully as a song. It was in 1991 by the Marcy Brothers as a "Don't Tell My Heart," and that happens a lot in the Nashville, or not even Nashville, but in any type of scene where you'll hear a handful of current country songs, and I guarantee you there's one or two versions before that for the people who initially wrote it, and maybe the one guy who tried to cut it after that, and then the one person that finally was able to make the hit, explode.
Yeah.
Any popular country song that you hear out there are two or three other versions of other people trying the exact same thing, and they just didn't have lightning in a bottle or mullet in a bottle,
or marketing dollars.
Correct. Yeah. So the song reached number 23 on CMT's 100th Greatest Videos, as Lori mentioned, because it was a very interactive video. In the early 90s, there was a lot of videos that came out that were live show videos.
Almost like workout videos.
Yeah.
Kind of. Like you do this step.
Sure.
And then I don't know. Yeah. I used to always watch the show when I was younger, and this is telling a lot about me, but it was called Sit and Be Fit, and it was for old people to learn how to be active in their old age, and they were sitting and working out. And that is what this video reminded me of, but from a standing standpoint.
I apologize to our listeners.
Stand and be mulleted fit.
Right now. Lori's talking about old people workout videos.
Of course I am. You think I'm not going to work old people into an episode? Quit breathing into your microphone.
This got really
all right, next.
Anyway, all right. Let's get back on topic, Lori. So number 23 on CMT's 100's Greatest Videos. Again, early 90s, even from rock and roll. I don't know what it was. I think it was just the technology of videography. It seemed like everybody was releasing music videos where it was like a live situation.
Are you surprised that it was that high?
23? I thought it would be higher.
Oh, really? I would have thought it would have been lower.
Yeah, because in 91, I mean, we're talking about just getting on the cusp of exploding. So the late 80s, early 90s, still was trying to, pop country was still trying to find an identity. So in the early 90s, Clive Davis from Aria Records, sorry, not Aria, Arista Records.
We just watched the best.
We did.
Documentary on that guy.
So this is where he took the model that a lot of other bigger companies were taking, where they didn't want to just be in one segment of music. They wanted to diversify. They went to Nashville, and then we're talking, this is when Reba, Garth Brooks, Alan Jackson, Billy Ray Cyrus, this is where all of that huge popular frontline viewpoint went on to country. And that's when, you can see if there was
exploded.
Yeah, if there was a graph, like a stock market graph on how popular country music was, you hit 89 through 95.
It's off the mullet.
It's fucking insane. It's stupid. It makes me mad almost. So kind of digressing, Marcy Brothers put it out, didn't do anything for them. Billy Ray, through the machine, released it on an album that wasn't grammatically correct called Some Gave All in 92, which I don't know what that means. He
just had really tight jeans, and that's all anyone cared about.
And
his mullet.
I don't know what that means anyway.
Some gave all, man.
And it really, so when it comes down to music, sometimes the easiest songs are, the most palatable. You don't have to think about them. This song had 2 chords, A major and E. That was it. That's all you had to worry about.
And it will haunt your nightmares, friends.
It will.
All right. So on a scale from buzz cut to business in the front, party in the back, where are you putting this on a musician popularity standpoint? I know where I would put it from a marketing standpoint, but like from being a musician, where do you think this stands?
So I have a little bit of different viewpoints on this because I've seen both sides. I've seen not being around the industry, being up here, and I've been all around the industry. Mm-hmm. So from a musician standpoint, if I didn't know anything about what the point of it was, I would not a fan, just a popular kind of thing.
Complete buzz cut.
But on the other aspect, understanding how the juggernaut works with record labels and purposely trying to promote a very certain thing for a certain result. Yeah. They were smash success.
Yeah.
You can't hate them. They came out with a directive. They said, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to put this guy here. And our goal is to get here. Mm-hmm. And they hit everything. Yeah. So I can't be mad at them. They really did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah. Marketing standpoint, full on mullet for them, which is they did what they were supposed to do. It was, I hate this song. It will get stuck in your head, but they did absolutely what, from a marketing standpoint, they did everything they were supposed to do. From a musical standpoint, I think the song is rather disappointing, and like watching the video and stuff now, still pretty lame. But honestly, the song still gets stuck in your head. Like I remember researching the song, and the next day I was like,
but
damn it.
But I don't care who you are. If at some point in the song you have a breakdown, all the instruments drop out, and all it is with hand claps.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
No matter what it is.
Tight pants where you can't if you ever had to escape like a sticky situation, you are not wearing Billy Ray Cyrus's pants. They're so tight. No, he has,
like he
I don't know. There's a fire and you need to run. He is like penguin walking.
We're gonna have firemen listening to this podcast and be like, did she just call a fire a sticky situation? She doesn't know what's going on.
Why are all the firemen from like
Boston? Yeah, because they are.
There's no firemen anywhere else.
You just called a fire sticky situation.
From a marketing standpoint, tasty al dente pasta, good mullet.
I would agree. From a musical standpoint, it's again, the whole point of our podcast is to understand why these songs became popular. And as I try to be as non-pretentious as possible as a musician.
I try to be the most pretentious I can as a marketing person.
Yeah, she does. She does. She does. She wanted to bring something on here called the marketing hammer, and I don't know what it was. She was going to start hitting things.
It was just ham.
Hammer. Yeah. But, yeah, so from all in all, not really a mystery.
It was
Billy
a
Ray Cyrus.
Juggernaut.
Yeah, we get it. We don't necessarily have it on a rotation, but they had a plan. We got it. They put it out. It was a smash success. There's no really questions about why it was popular.
Right. So. And if you're still wearing pants that are that tight, we will come cut you out of them. Just message us. We'll help you.
Yeah, just say stonewashed stuck. And then we'll be there. We're there. SWS. Hashtag Wonders and Blunders. We'll be there.
All right.
We'll come get you. Well, guys, thanks so much for listening. Again, please subscribe below, and we will take your suggestions on what wonders and or blunders. It doesn't have to be a bad song. It could be a absolute juggernaut of a song that everybody adores, and we will break it down. Lori will take care of why it was famous marketing wise. I will cover a little bit more of the musical aspect, but we do appreciate you. Thanks so much, and we look forward to talking to you again.
Peace.